Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, we're going to talk about an SEC QB ranking, Week 5. I think we got a Heisman winner in here. And man, is it pouring down rain. It's been raining all day. Perfect day to do a video. Hopefully, we don't have any flooding up here in Pigeon Forge. Anyway, let's get into these rankings. If there's one thing I like talking about, and you folks know how opinionated I am when it comes to teams, I'm just as bad with quarterbacks. So let's get into this. All right, this was done on 247 by Brad Crawford. Always enjoy his work. Now, I've not read through this whole article. I'm just going to give my reaction to these listings. Number 16, Peyton Thorne, bottom of the barrel. This is a guy who, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I told Hugh Freeze all offseason, go get a quarterback. You got plenty of money. You got the Yellowwood dude. He's going to get you money. Go get a quarterback. Peyton Thorne's a nice guy. I'm sure of that. Probably a team guy. He throws interceptions. He's thrown interceptions at Michigan State. He throws interceptions at Auburn. It's what he does. And he doesn't throw for a high percentage. You need to go get a quarter. He didn't do it. So anyway, Peyton Thorne's been, unfortunately, it's just not going well. He got benched. Now they'll probably bring him back because they put in a guy that wasn't ready. And it's a mess. Auburn's got a lot of talent. They got a great defense. There's no reason in the world they should be struggling, but they are because you've got to have a quarterback. It's the SEC. You're not playing in the freaking Sun Belt. Anyway, number 16, Peyton Thorne. I've given him enough grief. Jackson Arnold, number 15. This is very unfortunate. This is a 5-star, okay? This was a big-time get for Oklahoma, and they thought they had their guy, and maybe they do, but he looked like crap against Tennessee. Now, granted, when you've got somebody in your lap basically knocking you down every 5 seconds, it's hard to look good, but he turned the ball over way too much, threw into triple coverage at one point, and then he threw a backwards pass. So they had to bench him, brought in another quarterback, the Hawkins guy, who literally, he's got to be more careful with his body. I mean, he ran around on the VOLS a little bit. At one point, landed on his head, which is where they marked the ball. He's got to be more careful. He's very electric, throws it okay, but I don't know that he can last in the SEC running around reckless like that. But anyway, that's who they're going with now in Oklahoma. And they need it because their offensive lines, it's very porous. All right, number 14, Brock Vandagriff. This has been a disappointment. I really thought this was a great get. And I know he was the backup at Georgia, but look, if you're the backup at Georgia, you're good. He was a big-time recruit. I thought at Kentucky he'd have success because they've always got a good offensive line there. They don't this year. Their offensive line has really let him down. And Brock, he's a running quarterback, but not a good one. He's he's not pedestrian, but he's not going to make a bunch of people miss. And he's got a good arm, but they've got to give him some time. I think he's the right quarterback for Kentucky, but look, you've got to have a great quarterback, but you also got to have an offensive line. And if you only got one, he'd better be fast. And Brock's not really a dual threat guy. He kind of is, but isn't. Connor Wagman, Texas A&M. This is a guy that was ranked number 8 preseason. Now he's 13th. He's just not working out there at Texas A&M. They may very well go with Marcel Reed. We'll see. But Wagman, he's been a disappointment this year. Another 5-star dude. I'm telling you, it's just hard to be a quarterback in college football, and especially in the SEC level, because you're going to see the best defenses. I'm very surprised. I thought he'd have a really banger year. It's just not working out. All right, number 12, Talon Green. This guy's a true dual threat. I mean, he can really run. His arm, he can make some great throws, but he's not consistent. He's not accurate. He's throwing for like 53%, but he's such a great runner. He can still help you a lot. We're facing him in 2 weeks, and I think their next game will be Texas A&M, and they've got a good defense. So we'll see how he does, but he's a pretty good quarterback. He was preseason ranked 14th, and now he's sitting at number 12. Pretty solid quarterback. All right, number 11, Lenoris Sellers. Now, I got a lot to say about Lenoris Sellers. I've been very torn on him. I think long-term he's going to be a very good quarterback. He is not ready. You saw that in the first couple of games. He was nervous. His fundamentals aren't there. His footwork's not there. But, man, that guy's got some skills. You can just see it. He's got some magic. So I understand why they've gone to him. This is going to be a tough year for South Carolina. Fortunately for them, they've got a really good defense, which surprised me. I wasn't expecting them to be that good. Their offense is just hit and miss. And when they start playing the big-time teams, it's going to show up. It just is. So anyway, he's sitting at number 11. I think next year he'll be a very solid quarterback for them. This year, it's just hit and miss. And speaking of the South Carolina Gamecocks, their YouTuber, Carolina Jackpot, I give him a lot of grief. And he's usually running around at 4 o'clock in the morning delivering potato chips and stuff. And I thought, I give this guy so much grief. I need to see what these potato chips are about, see if they're any good. So I've decided I'm going to try these things. And they're called Utz potato chips. Now, if you're from the South, I've never really eaten Utz potato chips. I just haven't. I think, usually Lay's or something like that. They're usually in a small segment in Kroger or whatever. But anyway, I thought I'm going to try these. So I got a bag. And I got the honey barbecue. I'm going to try these out. And if they're not any good, I'm going to tell you they suck. If they're good, I'll tell you that too. I'm not going to lie about it. Anyway, let's see what these things, I think I paid $3.79 for this bag of chips. Okay. Well, they smell like potato chips, barbecue anyway. Let's see what they look like. All right, here's the chip. Looks pretty good. That's a pretty good chip. It's not greasy. I thought it'd be greasy. Look at that chip. It's not greasy. Huh. That's a pretty good potato chip. It's a little bit drier than a Lay's chip. Lay's is a little bit greasier. I actually kind of like that better. Dang, I wasn't expecting to like that. Well, I'm not going to lie about it. They're good chips. Anyway, on to with the show. That's sort of a side deal. I can't give him grief about his chips. Dang.
Yeah. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. Number 10, Blake Shapen, Mississippi State. Out for the season. I didn't realize that. Dagnabbit. He'll miss the rest of the season due to injury. Try to seek another year of college football. That's unfortunate. True freshman Michael Van Buren will run the team. That's really a shame. Mississippi State needed him. Daggone, man. They're already struggling so bad. This is going to be an awful year for Mississippi State. They've had some of the worst luck and just unfortunate circumstances. Losing their head coach to a sudden, heart attack is just really unfortunate. Mike Leach, who would say, he was a pretty interesting character too. He would say all kinds of stuff. He was kind of fun. Anyway, Mississippi State, you're just running through a bad time. Anyway, I'm not going to give you any grief. Oh, Graham Mertz, Florida. Now here's a guy who I never thought would work out at Florida. And even though their record has stunk under his, quarterbacking, it wasn't his fault.
It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't. I mean, the guy threw for 73% last year, had a good touchdown to interception ratio. He's played well this year with the exception of the first game when Miami just beat the crap out of him. That wasn't his fault. He played well in the game against Mississippi State last week, and, he's had some good moments. But the offensive line's not very good, and their defense stinks. So, anyway, Graham Mertz at number 9 makes sense. They've got DJ Lagway. They've been sort of putting him in about every third series. So they're okay at quarterback. They're just the rest of their team's no good. And Billy Napier, he's toast, totally toast. And the crap they're doing to Ole Miss by basically telling them they're going to take their head coach, and their head coach is basically flirting back, which is really unfortunate. He's been doing that on Twitter, that's so Lane Kiffin. He's either going to get a huge raise or he's going to totally screw over Ole Miss and go to Florida. And he won't leave. It's not going to be over money. They'll match the money. It's just whether or not he wants to stab another team in the back.
You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are.
Who has given him everything he's ever wanted. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that subject, but Brady Cook, number 8. A little bit of a disappointment. Missouri's been struggling. I think not having that great running game that they had last year with that guy that came out of, I don't know, some tiny college somewhere. But they do have Luther Burden, who's fantastic. He's probably a first-round wide receiver. So Brady Cook's a good quarterback with a lot of moxie, but he's not playing as well as he should be, and that may be offensive line issues. But anyway, he's at number 8. All right, number 7, Diego Pavia. Absolutely my favorite quarterback in the SEC outside of Nico. Fantastic. Tons of moxie. He is carrying Vanderbilt on his shoulders. This is the quarterback story you love. A guy that just comes in and takes a team that was bottom of the barrel in the SEC, and he's scaring the crap out of everybody. They're 2-2, could be 4-0. Went to overtime with Missouri, who's a top 10 team. Now, Diego Pavia, he sounds like some sort of a opera singer. That's why I like to call him Enrico Palazzo.
Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo!
So Enrico's killing it over there at Vanderbilt. A great pickup. How many teams wish they'd have gone and gotten Diego Pavia? How many teams? Oh, my gosh. You think Auburn wishes they'd have gotten him? How about Florida State? Anyway, this dude is he's the cat's meow. And I hope Vanderbilt has a great season, and he has a great year, and he doesn't beat my VOLS. All right, Carson Beck, he's moved to 5th. He started the season number 2. He's not been playing that well. That Kentucky game hurt them. A lot of people really lowered their opinion of him after the Kentucky game because he wasn't able to do anything against a pretty good Kentucky defense. You know, they're not bad, but you would expect them to overpower Kentucky, and they didn't. Now, Georgia sometimes does this. Like I've told y'all, sometimes they like to play with their food, but he's dropped to number 5, and we'll see. Look, they got to play Alabama this weekend, so all this is going to get washed out in the mix. We'll find out a lot about him this weekend because you know Alabama's going to bring everything they got.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Tide, go get them. Tide, go take them down.
All right, tied for 5th, Quinn Ewers. Now, Quinn's hurt right now. Now, he may play in the next game, but he's got some sort of an oblique injury, and Arch Manning's been in there. So, you know, that's probably why he's 5th right now. But he's a terrific quarterback. Once he's well and back on the field, he's going to compete for number 1. And they are number 1 in the country right now, by the way. So Quinn Ewers doing fine. All right, Nico Iamaleava. Nico is obviously a redshirt freshman. He's killing it. He looks great. Now, Oklahoma confused him a little bit and put a lot of pressure on him. He still played a good game, threw for like 200 yards, touchdown. He turned the ball over a couple times because they strip sacked him. And one time got him from his blind side because both our tackles were out in that game. Hopefully we get them back really soon. But Oklahoma has got a real defense. Man, I'm telling you, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at him. And he handled the pressure because, I mean, the decibel level of that stadium on Saturday night was unbelievable. They said it was like a jet engine. And he seemed pretty calm, but they confused him a few times. So anyway, Nico's going to be, at some point, if he stays healthy, he's going to win a Heisman. I have very little doubt of that. But they've got him at number 4. All right, Jalen Milroe. Great running quarterback. This guy's tough as shoe leather, I'm telling you. Now, he's not the greatest thrower of the ball. His mid-range is it's marginal. He throws a really nice deep ball, and if he takes off on you, he is fast and hard to tackle. Didn't play all that well against USF, but then they whooped up on Wisconsin. Milroe's just a really strong quarterback that any team would like to have, and he's sitting at number 3. All right, Garrett Nussmeier. Now, this guy's got a heck of an arm. They've got him at number 2. And the reason being, he's had a bunch of 300-yard outings, 1,200 yards, etc. I'm not sold on him at number 2. I think he's a really good quarterback, but his inability to be a dual threat, his inability to run is a problem. So they're giving him number 2 because of his stats, and he's got a great arm. But I want a quarterback that can run and is capable of it, and he's not. He reminds me of a throwback quarterback, and he might do well in the NFL. We'll see. But I wouldn't have him at number 2. I just wouldn't. All right, number 1, Jackson Dart. I think this is pretty obvious right now. He's says shattering conference efficiency records. His completion rate's almost 80%, which is insane. 1,500 yards. They haven't played anybody. They're getting ready to play Kentucky. That's a good, solid defense. We'll see how he does. He's a true dual threat. Ton of moxie. Got a great arm. This guy's the real deal, and he could very well be the Heisman winner this year. We'll certainly see. He's got the right coach for this year anyway. But I like this guy to be a first-round draft pick. And while he's not a shoo-in by any stretch for the Heisman, he's probably the favorite right now. So Jackson Dart at number 1. So anyway, I did want to cover these SEC quarterbacks. That's always fun. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's remember to continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, you hit this little button right here. It'll help you get my videos, and it won't cost you a dime. It's this little button right here. A lot of you watch my video, but you don't hit the button.
Come on. Come on! Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
I don't know why. And right over here's a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.